everybody and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be looking at how I went about building these snowy stone bases that you see on my Stormcast Eternal army. Pretty simple technique. All you need is some rock. So I use Warlord Games battlefields and basing, so just bits of slate, nothing much. Some milliput, some sterling mud, and some GW snow effect, and eventually what you'll get is the result there. So first what we're going to do is we get our base. As you can see, the model has already been taken off this, and some milliput, 2 parts, just mix it up. If it gets a bit sticky, just a little bit of water, and then we stick it on. And what we do is we get our stones. So what we're doing is we want to look for a couple of stones that are quite flat, with that flat surface. So get a couple. I try to keep it to about 3-4 stones, just depending on the size that we've got. Pick them out, and then push it around, and then I look. And just push it in. And then the other ones, just do the same. So what you want to do is you want to try to keep a nice sort of surface. And if you want, you can sort of step it down a little bit just by pushing them in like this. Right, and then what I do, sorry about that, I then get my little sculpty tool and then just wet it, and then I just smooth out the milliput. Just like so, because what's going to happen next, it's pretty easy. So that's pretty much that. As you can see, it's pretty flat. You've got a good surface to stick the model onto, and once that's all based and put the snow on, it'll look pretty cool. So this is going to need to be dry. I probably need about an hour before I do anything else with it. Milliput does dry quite quickly, so which is always quite handy. So you leave it for a couple of hours and then come back, and then when you come back to it, you will be left with something like this. So this was one that's dry already, so it's pretty solid. Got quite a flat surface there, look, as you can see. And what we do now is get your sterling mud, give it a good shake, and what you basically want to do is just apply it on. You just want to cover around the rocks really. Now you don't need to use GW's texture paints. I found it quite easy because it speeds it up, because you don't really need to paint it. Or you don't need to prime it and base coat it and stuff like that, like you could do with sand. But you could use sand if you wanted. You could use gravel. And if it gets a little bit messy, don't worry. Just adds to the effect. And then slob a little bit in there. And if you put too much in, just pull some out. Just move it around a bit. But essentially what you want to do is fill all the gaps, get the mud everywhere, Put it a little bit over the top if you want. And then once that's done, you're ready to slap some paint on. Try to get it everywhere, even underneath here, just so you've got that, even if it's not where mud's supposed to be, at least it's textured. So there you go, cover in mud. All the midi puts showing, and then you leave this to dry. This will take about an hour or so to dry, depending on how thick it is. Areas like this here where it's actually being put on quite thick, that'll take slightly longer to dry. So again, a couple of hours to get it dry. So once it's dry, you're going to be left with this, nice and dry. So you can prime it if you want. I tend not to, because it's only really the rock. And then what I do is I get some Mechanica Standard Grey and I start painting the stones. Just thin it down slightly, and then you want to basically cover the stone, get all the edges. Just follow the pattern that you leave with the mud. So if you've gone over the top, like, don't go over it with the Mechanica Standard Grey. You don't really need to do anything with the sterling mud because it's essentially paint with texture in it anyway, so you've already, base coated that already. So once this is done, you're just going to need to leave it to dry. If you've got a hairdryer, blast it with that. If you haven't, probably about 5-10 minutes for it to dry, and then that'll be ready for the next stage. So I'm going to get this dry, and then we'll move on to the next stage, which will be applying some washes and some cool little tinty colours in the rock. So I'll be right back. Right, so we had a slight error there. Lost the footage of me putting the washes on, but essentially all I've done is I've coated the entire thing in some black Templar contrast paint, thinned with some Lamian's medium. And as you can see, I'll just do a little bit on this top of this rock here. And then I've got some Athonian Camel Shade, this one here. And what this has done is just added some green tints to the rock. Just thin it with a little bit of water, and then just thin coats. Then with a wet brush, just to feather it out. And then just like so. There was a whole little bit more than that, but as you can see, unfortunately I had a bit of an issue and lost that footage, but you kind of get where I was going with this part anyway. So what we're going to do is going to let this completely dry, and then we'll get on to the dry brushing side of things. Okay, welcome back. So what we're going to do now is going to do a little bit of dry brushing. So first things first, I'm going to get some Dawnstone, just not much on the brush, and then just on a tissue, get rid of the excess, and a couple of small rounder circles. You just want to build up the highlight on the stone. This is the only real Artis Opus brush that I use now. I've gone back to Rosemary & Co. Series 33. The other brushes I've found to be quite inconsistent. They lose their points quite quickly. But the dry brushes seem to be quite good for now. This is their small. You don't need anything larger than this for this sort of task. As you can see, let's build up those highlights. Every now and again you're going to have to go back up and put some more paint on. And they do some trick where they actually wet the dry brush, but I really don't mind any chalky effect on my rocks because it's a rock. Rocks can be quite chalky and dusty. Just like so. So now what we do is we get the next colour, which is Karnak Stone. Give it a shake. And you don't really need much of Karnak Stone, you just add in a sort of slightly non-grey colour into the mix. So sadly, due to COVID-19, I can't get hold of a webcam, otherwise I would start live streaming. So as soon as it's over, I will get a webcam and then we'll start live streaming. So the final highlight, Administratum Grey, and you're going to do quite a few of these, but you want this to mainly concentrate around the edges and the top, basically. Like that. And we're going to do the brown. Okay, so that's the stone done. Quick and simple. For the brown, because you've already done the base coat, just get some Morphang brown. And then start lightly dry brushing the areas of mud. Nice and easy, very quick. These bases are so easy to do and so quick, but really effective, and they look amazing when they're finished. Okay, so that's that done, and then finally, for the final highlight in the mud, get a real sort of brightish highlight. Just use some Screamer Skull, and this wants to be a real light dry brush. Doesn't want to be too bright. Too hard. You really just want to sort of feather it, really. You don't want it to be too bright and extreme, just enough for it to pop out a little bit. Right. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is start adding the grass and the snow. So I'm going to get all of that. I will be right back. So, and I'm back. So as you can see, I've got my static grass and I've got a little base filled with some PVA glue and an old brush. This is pretty much my glue brush. It's an old GW brush and it's pretty much used purely just to apply glue to bases now. So just using a bit, just dollop it on. And what you want to do is you want to just space it out evenly, not too much because you're going to be putting some snow on here as well. I'll probably put a little bit up here, like so. And yeah, stick a little bit in there. Just like this. So any areas like that you know you haven't really got the brush into, and if you look at an angle you can kind of see stuff. If you want to hide that, you just fill that area with glue, and then you'll be able to put the static grass. So I take it off my base. You can do this without that if you want, and then stick it in. And bang it off. Just give it a quick blow, and as you can see, stick it back on the base. And that's, so already it looks pretty good. Once you tidy up the edges, the trim, that'll look like a really cool base. But we're not finished yet. Now what we want to do is we want to add the snow. So Valhalla Blizzard by GW is a really good for this. You could use baking soda and glue and other products, but I found the GW snow effect being quite good. Using the GW tool, just the small part. Now you got to remember that the miniature that's going to be going on here, you got a rough idea of where he's going to be, so you know he's going to be basically on the top. So you can have some. You don't want to put the snow where he is, so you want to put it in this area, down here, in here, and then you want to keep it the second half of that. So what I'll do is have the snow coming down on top of here, like so. And then you can put some on top of the grass. If you got a little bit too much, just take it off. And the good thing with this stuff is you can actually get it to fall down the side. So you've got that there. Just gently. And then a little splodge on the bottom. Like so. And around the back. Like this. This is what I really like about this stuff, because it's so easy to apply and it gets a really good effect. And then, as you know, the foot's going to be here. There you go. Awesome. So what you can do, just to finish it off, is just get a thin brush and what you want to do is do something like that. You can get some contrast paint and thin it right down. And we'll use some ethermatic blue. GW really do like some weird names. And then just drop the colour into the snow. If it pulls too much, just get an old brush and just mix it. Right, and that is how I do my snow bases. So I hope that helps, and I hope you liked that video. I've got a couple more videos coming. I'm going to have some Sylvaneth videos. I'm also going to be potentially doing a video on how I do that blade for my Sylvaneth army, as well as painting up how I do the Sylvaneth bark and everything else. And if you want, I can do a video on how I do the red for the Stormcast Eternal, and I will, once I get it finished, be posting up the video of the next how to paint, which is going to be a size of the Emperor. So that's going to be coming shortly as well. So I hope everyone's staying safe and staying indoors and try to enjoy the hobby the best you can. And I'll see you all at the end of this. Thanks for supporting. Bye bye.